I just remember the orange, was it like Challenger or something?
Yeah, with Jessica Simpson.
That one. I was thinking of like the old one.
No, I was thinking about the one with Jessica Simpson.
Oh, wasn't it like Johnny Knoxville too or something?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, all right. Recording here. Okay, so I guess we'll start with the split, right? Where we
Yeah.
at here? Let me I think we're on what, the third day?
I think so.
Dude, my legs are so sore from yesterday. My quad has not been my like from the ones that tore has not been this sore in like over a year.
It's also good.
It's absolutely miserable.
Big win.
It is, but it's miserable. I told you I squatted 3 1/4 on the Smith machine
Yeah, man, that's huge.
for
It's, I
10.
mean,
I'll tell you what, when I unracked that, I'm like, how the fuck did I have 5, 6 plates on this motherfucker on a free bar like years ago? It's so heavy.
seriously.
It's humbling. It is humbling.
Yeah. There was nothing like getting under a bar and being like afraid of the weight on top of your back, though.
Dude, I remember the first time I squatted 585, I was so nervous. It took me like 15 minutes to do the set. And I just remember like having like my anxiety being through the roof before I did the set. And like
Well, dude, like you could die with that much weight on your back.
you really, as fucking sick as it sounds, you actually can.
Yeah, the human body is not meant to fucking put that much on its back and squat to the floor.
No,
I've never gotten under that much weight. The most I've ever put my back ever was 525. But
it's,
I've done 495 for reps on multiple occasions.
yeah, I've
And
seen
even
it.
that, it's
It's
like
heavy, bro. It's ridiculous.
scary, it's scary getting under that much fucking weight, man.
When you put it like that, it's like you had 500 pounds of just raw dead weight on your net on your traps.
Yeah,
Like, and you not just standing there, you go all the way down and all the way up.
yeah, dude. Do you think when God created man, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna create, I'm gonna build this body to squat
No,
hundreds and hundreds of pounds. Like
no.
you're just defying what's normal. It's
Yeah.
really like it is
I
definitely scary. And
it's
like I've had
terrifying.
injuries when I'm squatting a lot of weight before.
Yeah,
Like back in
it's
the day, I've tweaked like my adductors, my hamstrings, like with like 400 or 500 pounds on my back. And like it
yeah,
fucking hurts.
yeah, I've been in pain too, just and like not even knowing what hurt. I mean, I've ripped my asshole, I've gotten fucking hemorrhoids, so from squatting that much, it's not pleasant.
Yeah, it's
You
dangerous.
definitely have to have a couple screws loose in your head to like actually like willingly do that.
Yeah,
Like,
I think those days might be over for me.
those days are 100% over for me.
Yeah, I don't just gonna do like 405 tops.
Yeah, I'm working back there. Oh, Justin's in here. Justin, did you come to get degraded?
Who adjusted?
Armor. We were,
Oh God, we were just talking about you.
yeah. It's my birthday on Monday. The answer is absolutely fucking not, Justin. You're 7 weeks out. You're not getting sushi. You know what you could eat for your birthday? Chicken and fucking green beans. He said what? Anyway, all right, so let me share my screen here. How do I do this? You would think I would know how to do this by now. Oh, here we go. All right. Tell me if that popped up.
Loading right now. Yeah, it's there.
All right, cool. He just gave us what was sad face. The fact that you would ask your coach for sushi because it's your birthday, you sound like a bitch. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks. That's all right. Glutes and hamstrings. Probably, in my opinion, this is probably like my favorite one to construct when it comes to a female.
Yeah, you could go a lot of different ways with it. I think that's what's
Absolutely.
most fun about it.
Yeah. So how would you start this?
So I always like to. So again, this is general. Generally speaking, it's always going to come down to the athlete we're building this for. But if I were to just generally build a split here, I'm always going to try to prioritize the glutes because in most classes, that's going to be, bikini wellness. That's going to be the focal point. I think one of the
100%.
most
Yeah.
important pieces of the physique. So I'm typically going to start with those and prioritize those. And I always like to start with an activation movement. So something like banded. I don't know if there's like an official name to these or not. Like
You talking about like
educate.
the sidewalks?
Yeah, yeah. Like you put the band around your knees, your
Yeah.
legs, you squat to the
So
point that you get
I
your
just
glutes
call
most
them
engaged.
I just call them lateral walks, dude.
Lateral. I call them banded side steps. That's what they are called in my programs.
Honestly, I might need to change to that because that sounds a little bit more like,
I think mine sounds stupid, but anyway.
but it sounds
Um,
more understandable than lateral walks.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I like to start with something like that just to get the connection and some blood flow into the glutes.
So when I put these in, right, I'll typically put like three, like go down one way, 20 steps, go back, three sets like 20.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
So
you're getting 10 steps each direction.
exactly, exactly.
Exactly, yeah. Same.
All right, cool. So we have this, right? Like you said, it's gonna be an activation movement, get some, warm up blood in there. And then what would you go to? Would you go to another isolation movement or like a hip thrust, a squat?
This one I would go to probably like an isolation movement that you can load.
Yep,
And I would do some type of cable kickback variation, whatever you feel the most. Like so a lot of people do them like standing straight up with their leg completely straight.
yep.
Some people bend over more and actually, bend their knee and kick back, like whatever variation you feel the most.
Mhm.
In my opinion, you should do. And sometimes, depending on what the athlete needs to build up, I'll superset it with like a side kick to hit kind of more of
Oh,
that upper glute,
that's not a
just
bad
as
idea.
as a good superset. Like I've been having Sam do that for a while.
That's a good
Um,
idea. So she goes
so
from so you have her do one leg and then immediately go into the side step and then the other leg. That's a
right,
good idea. All right. All right, cool. And so she's
yeah,
doing the side step without the cable on her ankle or with it.
no cable, no,
So
just no.
okay, so she's
The,
it's
oh, the side wait, the side kick you're saying?
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, she's having that on her ankle too.
So it's
The
all
load
weighted.
is the load is
Yeah,
going to
that's
drop
good.
when you do the side for sure, because
Yeah.
you're just naturally not going to be as strong
So it's
than
like
a
an
straight
it's like
kickback.
an abductor almost too,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
That's a nasty superset. That's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right. All right. So with kickbacks, what do you have somebody do here? Three
Um,
sets?
if they're gonna, yeah, yeah, like somebody like at an advanced level, I would say two, because you can load the fuck out of it and get a lot out of it.
Yep.
Um, and if you're doing just the kickback, I would probably do like sets of 12 or so.
Mhm.
If you're supersetting it, maybe 10 each.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna
80
put a
pounds
super
on
set in.
kickbacks, cable, and then 55 pounds on the side. Yeah, Sam's got a really strong kickback. Like I do the same amount of weight as she does on the kickback.
Yeah, well, her glutes like doubled in size.
Yeah, it's
So
insane
so
actually.
it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say one thing I'm very good at programming is glutes for sure.
I'll just put sided abductor cable kicks.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And what do you do? 2 at 10 of this, too?
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, Chuck, what's up, dude? Hope you're well. All right, cool. So after this, what are we going into?
That's where I'd go into something more compound, like either a glute bridge or a stiff leg deadlift, because that
Yep.
can kind of start to transition a little bit into hamstring too.
Now with this, typically I'll put here like in parentheses, I'll put like a Smith machine, a bar, or or a machine, just in case somebody doesn't have access to one or the other. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. As long as you're consistent with it, I don't
Yeah,
think the variation matters as much. Consistent and can progressively overload it. I mean, I personally prefer the Smith machine.
yeah, I agree for sure.
And this, I'm only going to do probably like two top sets of like 8 to 10.
Some heavy on those. Cool. All right. So after this, you know, to be honest, after these three, some of these glutes are probably just wrecked.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably move into a stiff leg at that
Yeah,
point and
stiff leg,
do,
yeah.
because like you're still going to finish off the glutes, but it's gonna be the compound movement for your hamstrings.
Yeah. Now, do you put if I put stiff leg variation here, or do you give a specific like I want dumbbells, I want bar, I want cable?
No, I generally will just program dumbbell or barbell.
There.
But even if somebody has access to a machine, like we have the Nautilus, like I don't know exactly what it's called, but you can like deadlift on it and stuff, or like I guess kind of row on it. I prefer
Yeah.
to do them there, mainly because my injury. I like doing a barbell the most.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, whatever variation you like the most. Some people do a cable too.
Yeah. So I've seen them a lot on like a what's it called? Squat machine. Um
The pitch shark.
the belt, yeah, the pit shark, the belt squat, yeah. Yeah, they I would imagine those feel pretty damn good as long as you can get deep enough.
I haven't used that thing for one fucking thing. I've never tried it. And I went to like every gym I go to, I
Has it?
feel like
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just for some reason it just looks
Well,
like
you can
something I'm
also
not interested in.
so you could stiff like deadlift 500-600 pounds, dude. So I don't think something like that's going to benefit someone like you or I, where like we're able to connect with a stiff leg at 400 or 500 pounds. Where like on that you're not going to put that much weight. So but I think for a woman, like if like a bar is not available or something, I think it's a good alternative if they need. Yo, Miguel, what's up, bro? Um,
Oh, Miguel.
so how many sets of reps do you have in here?
Same thing. I'll probably do like 2 sets of 10.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so we pretty much smoke the glutes now for hamstrings. I typically throw in like a seated hamstring curl or something just to kind of finish it off.
Agreed.
And then set I'll probably put like 2 sets of like 12 here.
Yep. Yeah, this is a monster glute workout.
Yeah, honestly,
I'm sure.
it's actually a pretty good fucking workout.
Oh yeah, one of the things that's been a game changer, at least for Sam, has been doing the bands on her knees when she does a glute bridge.
Yeah, okay. I can put that.
I mean, then we're getting like a little technical here, but she's noticed a significant difference because she was telling me like, oh yeah, I really don't connect well with glute bridges, and I I think they're a good movement.
Yeah.
But I think for somebody like myself who needs to put like 500-600 pounds on a bar
Yeah,
to
it's
get
not worth it.
value from
Yeah,
it,
it's not worth it.
like I'm driving way too much systemic fatigue.
100%.
So the bang for my buck is not there. But for somebody who doesn't need to do that much weight, I do think it's a good movement. So I challenged her and I was like, all right, like, go try it with a band because I think that's going to help you activate your glutes more. And she was like, yeah, I actually like it.
Wow, that's
And
awesome. Okay.
it's been a real game changer for her. So yeah, just a good another note in there for whoever
Yeah.
gets this.
Yeah, absolutely. I when it comes to glute bridges, man, I don't I like stopped going like super heavy, man. Like you said, we need like 4 or 5 plates to feel it. I stopped doing that. I like only do like 2, 3 plates now. Just I'm doing like 2 sets of 20, like purposely. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I don't want to load 4 or 5 plates on there. One, it fucking hurts my groin, and two, it's like you said, the fatigue is just way too much.
Yep. I
So,
agree.
all right, cool. All right, sweet. So we got one more day for that, so we'll do that in 2 weeks. All right, so this one I'm pretty excited for. So somebody actually gave us this idea. I forget who it was, but if like somebody's listening to this on YouTube that did it, like thanks for that. So somebody asked us to piece together the perfect physique from previous pros, like top pros, right? So people that names that any bodybuilder fan or enthusiast would know, right? So I actually was really looking forward to this. It's actually pretty fun. So I guess we want to go. I think I'm actually going to open a document for this too.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say this is gonna be tough. We need to document it, man.
yeah, this is good. This is actually fun though. Like I was looking forward.
What an interesting idea.
It's
Whoever
kind of
gave
it's
that.
really cool though. Like so that's what I said. I forget who brought this up, but thanks for that. Um, and I knew as soon as they sent it, you would be like, "Yeah, this is great." All right,
Yeah.
so we've got chest, right? Back, arms.
So arms inclusive of the delts. I think it probably should be for simplicity purpose.
No, let's do delts separate.
No, okay.
Let's do that. We can include traps with delts.
All right, fair.
Just because, like, you got to think, dude. Like, if you put Phil Heath's arms in there, but like Ronnie Coleman's shoulders or something like that, like, you know what I mean? Like, you just make it freakier. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Then we have. Do we want to do quads and hamstrings together?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. So legs in
yeah,
general.
because like that's, I don't know, that's getting pretty detailed,
Yeah. All right. So we got chest, the back, the shoulders, the arms, the legs, and the calves. I'm definitely throwing calves
What about like midsection, like
and abs. There we go.
like taper? Like I don't know, because like that taper is really
All
important.
right.
I don't
How
know.
about we do this? Waist slash VT. Just like 10 seconds ago. Like, now we're getting all like in depth. If we separate the quads and the hamstrings, now we're at V taper.
Yeah, no, I think we just call abs, waist, and we taper like midsection.
All right. So we're doing abs and waist together,
Yeah.
and then V taper separate.
No, I think it's all the same. Like just
Okay.
the mid, it's like the
All right.
midsection. Like
Okay. All
you know what I mean?
right.
Because it's important. All
All
right.
right. All right. So let's throw some names out here. When it comes to chess, what people think of Arnold, obviously first.
Mhm.
Who
Ronnie,
Ronnie? Who was the other guy that was in Arnold's day and age, the short guy? Franco Columbo.
Greco.
Yeah, I think between him, like his chess was pretty freaky. Um, what would you say?
I think Frank had a better chest than Arnold, but I just feel like Ronnie's chest was probably the best. I mean, he
Yeah.
was like just half his body.
Well, let me
I
see.
don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, let's see.
I'm just gonna default to Ronnie for like half of the shit. Ronnie or Phil, basically.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, this is a pretty crazy chess, dude. Yeah, it's fucking nuts, man. All right, so we could go Ronnie. Let's put an or in there. I do think Columbo's chess was pretty freaky.
Okay, that's fair.
Um, I I'm looking at it now, dude. It was like, how do I share? If I could share
Yeah,
this.
I'll just go. I'm just
Oh,
gonna look.
I got it right here. It's coming
I
up.
got it.
Yeah. If Zoom's like being all slow. Dude, look at this fucking chest, bro. Thing
Yeah,
was
that's pretty crazy. You're right.
thing was nuts, dude. Look at this.
Yeah.
Like you don't really see a chest like this anymore.
No, I think you're right. I would agree with that.
So like look at this guy. This guy was hitting the fucking spike down most muscular before we were. Like before anybody now. Like that's a crazy chest.
Yeah, he was a monster.
Look at his waist, dude.
Mhm. He
But
was strong as hell too.
he was, yeah. Look at the chest though, dude. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll put Ronnie
I,
or Columbo.
I think Colombo could you could put him as the definitive
All right,
winner.
all right. Now back.
Still hard, dude. I mean, you gotta put Kai Green in there
I would
as a
say
prospect.
Kai Green,
Dorian.
Dorian, Phil.
Oh,
Like, bro, look at that.
I know. I don't know, man. I almost feel like I gotta give it to Kai.
With in terms of the detail, yes, I completely agree. In terms of like the thickness, look at Phil. He's like back, dude.
Bro, but look at Kai's
I know.
lats,
I
man.
agree. Yeah, it's insane.
Those are unbelievable. Like,
Look at this one, dude. What the
yeah,
fuck?
that's
Yeah.
insane. Just
So
that whole shot head to toe is unbelievable.
I yeah, it's look at his glutes, dude, into his hamstrings. And then we have, of course, Dorian Yates is back, which was like iconic. But I would still give this to Kyrie.
I agree. I mean, I don't know how it would be if they stood next to each other, right? Because everybody says he was just daunting. Like Oregon was just a mass of a human.
Dude, he looks
But
massive here. I mean,
I
but I
know, but like you know what I mean though. Like sometimes these bigger guys, they just like
yeah, like dude,
they dwarf
this is
guys.
ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, that is pretty fucking insane, actually.
Dude,
So,
that's wacky, bro.
yeah, what? Yeah, they don't make them like this anymore, man. It's weird.
Dude, this like this would be in like the top three of the Olympia today. Like it might even win again.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, he would have to push his conditioning hard more, but
yeah.
yeah, I think absolutely could be for sure.
But bro, like
Anyway,
look at like this wasn't even when he won the Olympia. That's what I mean. Like the conditioning standards back, like I feel like now it's like people do not get in shape like this.
dude, can we look at Keon Pearson's back? I think Keon might be the next like Phil Heath-esque bodybuilder.
Shit. The fuck, bro.
He's up there, but he's not passing Kai.
No, no. So we'll put Kai Green here.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Now shoulders.
I don't know.
Rolly Winkler had some pretty crazy shoulders.
His arms in general,
Yeah,
right?
his arms were ridiculous, bro. But like, look at this shit, dude. What the fuck, bro?
Yeah,
What the fuck, dude? It's just ridiculous. I'm voting for Phil Heath's arms. Like, no questions.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's like that I think is definitive. But for shoulders, I don't know. I see him trying to think like who Phil Heath had some pretty wacky shoulders too.
Yeah, his arms definitely did overpower them more so than Rolly. Like Rolly was just mass from his freaking neck
Unbelievable.
down.
Dude, look at this. It's fucking great, bro. Imagine just looking like this and just walking around shirtless, bro. Like people would be terrified of you. Like
Yeah, he was a unit.
it's fucking crazy, bro. So I don't know. Maybe like if I type in like best shoulders, I'm trying to think who else had like freaky shoulders.
I don't know because it's not like a body part you're typically like super known for. I would
Yeah,
say.
Ronnie did have some big shoulders too.
Mm,
Cutler did. Ronnie's shoulders too. They were pretty freaky. Let's see. Let's see. The shoulders were fucking massive. Look at these things. Jesus.
yeah,
I would probably put him there.
I think that's fair.
Bro, look at this. What the fuck, dude? All right. All right. Now we have arms. I think we're both in definitive agreement that that was probably Phil Heath.
Yes.
Yeah, that was. I want to look him up though. You know, he like never, obviously never trained arms too.
Give it, man.
Bro,
I mean,
look at this shit,
they,
dude.
they, they called him the gift for a reason, bro. He
Bro,
was,
that's like as perfect of a front double as you could get.
yeah, he was,
Absolutely. Look at this suit.
he was a cartoon character, man.
It's unbelievable, man.
Hmm.
Like, all right, so like, look at this dude. What the fuck, bro? What's up, BJ? How are you, man? It's crazy, bro. All right. This one's probably gonna be good. Legs.
That's hard, man.
It's very hard.
Because it's like I just think of like the era that we kind of. Hey, what's up, EJ? Um, I just think of like the era that we kind of grew up with. I'll be honest, like I don't love Ronnie's legs, so I'm not really thinking of
I
any.
don't either. I think like he had like his separation was like too like straight and narrow in the middle, if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah, and I feel like it wasn't always like the best his separation.
I
You know what
agree.
I
Even the
mean?
side leg, like his arms
Um,
and chest here are ridiculous. But
like my mind immediately goes to like Phil Heath, Sean Roden. I
yeah,
mean, I know everybody says Tom Platz, like, yeah, he had these crazy muscular legs. I don't think they were the most aesthetic looking legs though.
yeah,
Um,
they were pretty fucking big. Like, look at this dude. What the fuck, bro?
yeah, yeah, that picture is so stupid, but
Like, here's like a more normal one. I mean, they're still pretty crazy.
yeah, yeah, but I don't think they're like pretty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. You're saying like Phil Heath, like
Yeah, because if you want to just say the best legs, all right, Rami, like he had the biggest fucking hunks of beef on his
yeah.
quads
But
you could ever see,
you're
but
talking aesthetics.
full package, man. Like we're talking everything. So I don't know. My mind, like I said, it goes to like
Yeah,
Rodin,
those are
Phil
pretty
Heath.
legs.
Yeah, like they're just crazy. The separation, like again, his 3D factor is just
Yeah,
beyond anything you've ever seen before.
it's just so crazy. Yeah, I would agree with you. So we'll go with Phil here. Now calves.
Calves,
Uh,
like Eric Fankhauser, probably.
yeah, bro, his Wasn't
Mike,
he
maybe Mike Menzer.
Eric?
No,
He's
but not Mike Menzer. What the fuck is the
bro.
guy?
Look at this guy's calves. Where are they? Yeah, bro, this is ridiculous, dude. Like, what the fuck, bro?
They're too big though.
Yeah, but they're freaky looking though.
All right, so does he win?
I would think so. I think he was up there. Jeff Long back in the day, his calves were actually pretty crazy too.
Yeah.
But like, dude, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Eric was a good bodybuilder. He never really got the attention he deserved, in my opinion.
Yeah, like this is a fucking good look, dude.
Yeah, he was a little bit small across like the upper body, but he always came in condition and he always peaked well. His
It's a
legs are
good
always
look, man.
insane.
It's a great look.
I liked him a lot.
Oh,
And he
here you
was like
go. Here's Frank Hauser, Jeff Long, and Ben Pekulski. All crazy calves.
yeah, stupid.
We'll go
Nice,
ahead.
bro.
Yeah. All right. Now, this is your category. D-taper.
Um, I mean, I'm gonna throw out. Fuck, it's hard, bro. So C-bone, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Sean Roden.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sean Roden. That's who I was gonna say.
Brian Buchanan.
Yeah. Yeah, another that's a really good one. This is crazy, bro.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like he has one of the craziest, like most aesthetic midsections you've ever seen, and he's got really good taper when he opens up
Bro,
too.
look
That's
at
the
that,
thing.
dude. What the
Yeah,
fuck, bro?
unbelievable, dude.
It's that is insane, dude.
Yeah, I remember I saw him compete at like the 20, like video. I saw him compete like the 2012 like Tampa Pro or something, and I was like, "Yo, this guy's gonna be Mr. Olympia."
Dude,
And sure enough, he
look at
did.
that most muscular, bro. Like, what can you pick? Like, that is such a clean, like, look. It's unreal.
Dude, wait, scroll up a little bit. That picture on the left, the black background, the front double, middle
Where?
left,
Middle left.
all the way on the left, on like the third row down. Yeah, right there.
Oh, this one.
Where? The one above it.
This one.
The one above it.
Yeah, right here. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
What
Oh,
the
this looks like it's edited, but I've seen that non like
Yeah, they
edited.
did, yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, dude, he looks insane, bro. I mean, look at this. This too. This is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you gotta I think in my opinion it goes to Rogan.
Bro, his abs are nuts. I wonder if ChatGPT could make us this, like in a person.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually.
I'm
I'm
gonna.
sure it
I
could.
think later on I'm gonna actually type that in and see. And if they do, I'm gonna send it to you. I'll post it up.
That's funny. So in
Uh,
recap, we had what? Franco's chest,
yeah, we have Franco Colombo's chest,
Kai Green's back.
Kai Green's back, Ronnie Coleman's shoulders, Phil Heath's arms and legs, Eric Fankhauser's calves, and Sean Roden's waist and abs.
Nice. Okay.
It's pretty crazy. There's so many different ways you could go with that too. It's so cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. That was a good.
It's funny how we have like all these Olympians and shit, and then it's like Eric Fagan.
Dude, his
Most
fucking
people are like, who the fuck is that?
yeah, dude, his calves were nuts though, man.
They're unbelievable, dude.
Yeah, they're fucking
He's a
crazy.
cool guy, man. He got out of bodybuilding. He's like a coal miner.
Oh wow, really?
He supports his family. He's like a family man.
Okay.
He's a cool dude.
Okay. All right. Ranking intensifiers for training.
Oh, that's a good one. So we gotta, I guess, lay some of them out. Um, I mean, I'll just call out a couple that I really like. So I love AMRAP. So I'll say like drop the weight 20 to 30% from your top set
100%.
and just go all out. Um, Another will be like a rest pause set where
Yep.
it's like pick a number 15, 20,
Yep.
and go as many times as you can, as you have to get it.
Yep.
And then another is like isolation holds. So especially something like back movement where somebody struggles to feel it.
Yep.
I'll program like a set of 8 and I'm like hold every rep at the peak contraction for 3 seconds just to get like a different stimulus.
Yep.
So those are like some of the ones that I really like to use. What about you?
I agree. No, I think drop sets, like you said, are really good, and then you have just somebody do as many reps as possible, right? With something like that too, what are your thoughts on like telling the client or the individual like exactly the percent to drop.
Um, what's the question? Like, how do I get to
So
that number?
yeah, so for example, like you tell me, okay, do one top set on incline Smith machine, right? And then find your second top set, do a drop set as many reps as possible, right? Do you tell them, for example, like, hey, I want you to drop 50%, I want you to drop 30%? Like what are your thoughts on that?
When I program drop sets, I don't typically tell them how much to drop it. Like I would
Okay,
just kind of assume the athlete would know enough, and I don't program anything under 8 reps for anybody.
100%.
So, I mean, I'd be open to it if like a powerlifter wanted to work with me or somebody who was more interested in like 5x5 style training
Of
and
course,
stuff.
yeah,
But for bodybuilding purposes, it's never gonna happen.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would hope the athlete's like aware enough to know that I don't want them doing like 5 reps and then dropping the weight.
100%. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I will say I think that the drop sets would probably be number one for me, like you said. Um, and then I also really like rest pause sets.
Yeah.
I think they're a really good way to like, especially on like a heavier movement, but also like a safer thing. So like a Smith machine. I'm not gonna have somebody do that on like a free bar. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like even
And
on like a
barbell press. Just
yeah,
keep going,
not,
dude.
just tear your pec, no. But
Yeah.
like on a Smith machine or like maybe like if I have somebody do like an incline chest press, like on a cable or something like that, or like a machine chest press, or um, I don't really have them many on like back movements, but like more on like a chest or a shoulder movement, even like arms, something like that, where we want to take a more isolated, heavier movement, if that makes sense, to past failure, right? Like work up to a top set of 8, and then when you're done, take 20 deep breaths or 15 deep breaths, whatever it is, refocus and then do the weight again. And, you might only get 2 or 3 and then another 15, 20 breaths or seconds and then go again. You might only get 1 or 2, but it's a way of extending that top set of 8 to now say 12 to 15. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the same load. So, um,
I think at the end of the day, yeah, I would say maybe some intensifiers are more superior than others,
yep,
but for the most part, the purpose of the intensifier is to just drive a harder stimulus, right? Something you're not
exactly.
used to.
Yep,
So I would play around with them, see what you like, and stick with that one, or have a couple in
for
your
sure.
program. But
Absolutely.
don't overdo it with the intensifiers. Like if you're at a very advanced level and your recovery is on point and the whole nine, I think you could get away with multiple intensifiers in one session, but if you're somebody who's not at that level, or especially if you're natural, you have to be extra
Cautious.
focused on
Yeah,
your
for sure.
recovery.
Yep,
Don't do more than like one a week. Now, one
for
other
sure.
thing that I'll drive home, and again, this is for athletes that I know are like on point with their nutrition and training and diet and everything. I'll test them like whatever their weakest body part is, and I do this with myself too. Whatever their weakest body part is, I'll tell them 1 set per week on that body part. I want you to go to complete balls to the wall, absolute failure, beyond
Yep.
failure, force reps, whatever the fuck you got to do. Because I firmly believe that that is what is going to drive the most
Oh,
growth
100%.
in that area, right? So for me, like I'm really trying to build my tricep up right now. And what I'll do is I'll do like a specific push down variation that really hits the long head of my tricep where I have the most atrophy, and I go fucking insane with that set every week, and it's like done and fried. And now it's why like my arm is growing back very quickly. Right? I do the same thing for delts. Every time I use the Arsenal sideways machine, I go to ball swivel failure once a week. And it seems to. I really do think it is important to go to that level of intensity when you are trying to bring up a body part, especially something that's lacking.
I agree. Yeah, yeah. Because I think too, like, for those, trying to understand more in depth, like what you're saying is you're bringing a muscle past where it's used to go, and that's going to drive, like you said, that stimulus in there where it's going to shock the muscle now has to grow back and adapt to that stimuli and be ready for it next time, right? And then that's why we say like you just have to keep pressing your intensity, right, on something like that. And you just continue to improve that lagging part. So that makes complete sense. I think too, like a lot of the intensifiers, again, this is just from like what I guess we've seen in like recent day. Like I think like forced reps have kind of found their way out of modern day training and bodybuilding it, right? Because like a lot of studies now are showing like, hey, you can like still train with 1 or 2 reps or 3 reps left in reserve and still just drive as much hypertrophy and progressive overload without having to go past failure or you know what I mean, or like force reps past where you're mechanically failing at. Um, I think like 10 years ago, those were a big thing, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I remember like on a lot of John Meadows programs, if you recall, like he would say like, "Hey, on like an incline dumbbell, like have somebody literally on like some of the programs I
Hmm.
had like push your elbows back up for like an extra 3 reps, but you control the negative." And
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? I could barely like fucking hold the 100 pound dumbbells because I'm like going like this, and I can't control the negatives because you're. So I think like stuff like that's found its way out of modern day training. I'm not saying there obviously that shit worked, but you don't see many people doing shit like that anymore.
Yeah. I do it.
Yeah, you do, but we're old school
Yeah.
minded. You know what
I
I
know.
mean?
I don't care what the studies say. I don't give a fuck what any study says about very specific things on training.
Yeah,
There are way too many fucking other variables for
I agree.
you to tell me that 1 or 2 reps in reserve
Uh-huh.
is going to drive as much growth on somebody as going to balls to the wall past failure. I don't give a fuck what any data says. I'll die on that hill forever. The data is not finite because you could take fucking me, who is on point with everything, food, training, drugs, sleep, everything, health subs, whole fucking nine, and then take a bunch of other people that aren't on point with all those things, and no matter how the fuck I train, I'm gonna yield a better result than those
For
people.
sure.
So
I agree.
I don't understand how, like, there are way too many variables that you're not going to be able to control in a study with any subject, especially if we're talking about a sizable number of subjects, to be able to tell that these guys followed the nutrition plan that you gave them to a fucking T, and they took all the drugs or no drugs that you told them to take, and everything, right? That a bodybuilder
Yep.
does. There's too many
100%.
variables. So I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, what's most important is you've tried different types of training and see what what you've got the best result with, but also don't be afraid to try what things in the past that you didn't like, because your body does
For
change.
sure.
um you're training with progressive overload, but in a smart manner, right? We're bodybuilders, not powerlifters. And you've truly mastered how to train, like isolate body parts that are you're training, versus pulling up. Let's just use for example a barbell row, like actually isolating the back muscles you want to isolate versus just yanking up the weight with a shit ton of weight on the bar. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that level of
100%.
elite level of this of training. Um, so like those I think are the most important variables, but all this like super minutia shit, like
I
it's all
agree.
super minutia shit at the end of the day. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, for sure. And so the reason I brought that up is because I knew we've had so many talks about this show where like people are relying nowadays, not everybody, of course, but there's like a large group I feel like that you see that's relying on like these quote unquote science studies to not have to train fucking hard. You know what I mean? Like where they're like able to be like, oh, okay, on the hack squat, for example, I'm stopping 5 reps in reserve. Like, why? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you got bad
But
knees or like you have issues, like for me, for example, I'm still not, I'm right now, I'm purposely I mentally I've been training for so long. I know what 1 or 2 reps left, true reps left in reserve is, right? And as do you, right? We've been doing this for long enough to know that. Where I'm not trying to push my tendon right now, not even a year after it fucking ruptured off the bone, past that failure point yet. I'm getting near there, and I'm sure in the next 2 month or two, I'll be at that point where I'm able to be buried fucking calves on my hamstrings and not be able to get back up and force that rep. But prior to that, I was fucking going till like I couldn't get up. You know what I mean? Same thing with you, right? We're not, we know how to train to that actual failure point, but like I feel like people use these studies nowadays as like an excuse not to train hard.
yeah, I mean that totally could be it. And if there are people that truly do it or train that way because they feel it is optimal, truly, I wouldn't even if it was proven that it is optimal, I'll be honest, I wouldn't do it because I got into bodybuilding because I fucking love training hard. So why would I
Yeah,
stop doing what got me
a
here in the
hundred
first
percent. I
place?
agree.
I don't care if I'm going to yield 2% less results as a bodybuilder or whatever.
You're just having
I'm still
fun,
going to
and
train
you
my
know
balls off
it's
because
still
I
gonna
love it.
work, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. And I
Like
challenge anybody that is like of the mindset that they should train with, 2 reps in reserve or whatever. Like, go have fun and have a fucking leg day where you do like extensions to the point where like you want to cry. You know what I mean? Because that's the exercise to do it. And you'll probably have so much fun that you'll be like, you know what, I'm going to go do this again in a couple of weeks when my legs recover.
100%, bro. I'm looking forward to like being able to do like double, triple drop sets on my leg extensions again because that's what I would do like before my knee started hurting 2 years ago. That's all I did. Remember I last prepped my leg extensions, dude, 4 years ago. All I would do was I'd go up to like a top set of like 15 to 20, and I would just lower a plate off the thing in the old shed. I would have 4 plates on there. I'd do like 20 reps, and then I would take a whole plate off, go down to 3 plates, and do another like 10 to 15, 2 plates, 1 plate, and like all you need is one set of that, but I'll tell you what, I wanted to vomit right after that before I even did like a hack squat or a bar squat or a leg, you know what I mean? But like that shit is fucking fun and it works. I don't like you said, I don't care what anybody tells me. I'm not leaving no fucking reps in reserve there. Like by the third or fourth drop set, they're not even full reps. They're like half reps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they fucking work. Shit like that
Mhm.
works, like you said. Like you challenge anybody to take a set to like something like that with like a drop set, it's gonna work.
Yeah. And it builds character.
More than anything, it fucking does that. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. Especially like you said on a leg extension, those fuckers hurt, dude. They're like they're fucking painful, but um, awesome. And then you have anything else for intensifiers or training? That was a really good one. That was good.
No, that was a great topic. I remember
Uh,
you said somebody brought that up a few weeks ago.
yeah, they were like, "Hey, can you guys bring up drop sets and stuff?" I'm like, "How
We
about we
we
just
we
bring it
could
up?"
we could do a whole episode on that if we wanted to. It's like a really good topic.
We can in a couple episodes if you want. I'm good with that.
Yeah, we'll let
Yeah.
some time pass and
Yeah.
we'll bring it up.
Yeah. And then the last one was we were talking about this the other day. Doing what it takes to truly get peeled.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the first thing people need to do is look at what truly being peeled is, Um, and like look at all the great champions, right? Like when I saw Logan Franklin's conditioning at the
Unbelievable.
Arnold, I was like, yo, I want to look like that when I compete next.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like the level of conditioning I want to see because I frankly I don't think I've ever seen anybody more conditioned than
No.
that in
Did you
any
see his
division
box?
recently.
Did you see his box, dude, on his Instagram? Like right after the Arnold, somebody asked him like, "What were you dieting on?" And like, how much cardio were you doing? And who coaches him? Is it Patrick Tor?
Patrick, sure, yeah.
Yeah, so I remember you sent me his post, and I was like, dude, what the fuck is this? Like that guy, like was next, not like that 2 years ago.
Dude, it was like 2 days before the Arnold. I was like, yo, I was like, he can win this because
Remember
that
we
kid's
said that, and he got second, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and like dude, like shape wise in classic, he's not the best, but that conditioning carried him to second place, like for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, I think his shape is good. I like his shape. I
Well,
don't. The thing about him is, I think I'm assuming he's at his weight cap, right?
yes, I would assume
Um,
so. Yeah,
and and he's huge. Like I'm not debating that. But if you look at him next to Mike, Mike looks a lot bigger than him,
yeah, yeah,
and Mike is not quite as conditioned as him, but quite Mike is inside the fuck out too.
yeah,
So, you
yeah,
know,
bro. Yeah, I think
so
I think Mike's just his V taper's a little bit better, and just he's more put together for classic physique than Logan Franklin. If that makes
yeah,
sense.
he's just a fucking phenomenal bodybuilder, bro. You put him in any class, he's
I
gonna do
agree. Yeah, he's
well.
he's he's probably gonna him and Rough Diesel, him and Terrence Ruffin are gonna be that's gonna
That's
be
my
a battle, bro.
that's yep that's gonna that's I said that from the start. Terrence is gonna be the only person that's gonna
Dude,
challenge
he
him.
looks insane, bro. Those pictures you sent
Yeah,
me a couple weeks ago, like that guy is like he's like a whole new version of himself.
yeah, right.
Insane, bro. But
So
that box he put up, Logan Franklin, it was like ask him questions or whatever, a question thing, and like he responded to whoever asked, and I think he was doing an hour of the Stairmaster in the morning, and then he was doing like 30 minutes of the bike at night. And he said that Patrick had him on 3,000 carb days in a row and then literally no carbs for four
Yeah.
days.
Yeah,
Like,
dude. What
but
does that sound like to
what
you?
are
That
what
sounds
are,
exactly like my prep when I got inside out.
bro, you
Right? Like
yeah. Dude,
it was
like
it was almost the same exact thing. It wasn't quite as much food. It was like 1,000 carbs 2 days in a row.
yep,
But it was followed by like some zero carb days, some sub 50 carb days, and
yep,
an hour and 20 minutes of cardio. Like it's
yep.
just doing like at the end of the day, there's going to be varying levels of metabolism. But even when you have somebody like myself or like Logan Franklin, who, and I'm not comparing myself to him in terms of the conditioning I've ever been in. I'm not going to disrespect a guy like that. He's leaps and bounds beyond where I've ever been. My goal is to look like that one day.
That's
But
fucking right.
like I'm just using us both as examples of obviously people that have very good metabolisms because you wouldn't
Yeah.
get to that level if you didn't. You know
No.
what I mean? Even folks like us, like we need to push fucking hard
Yeah,
to get
bro.
truly peeled. So
100%.
if you're
Yeah.
somebody who doesn't have a fast metabolism or run lean most of the time or whatever, and you're trying to get to that next level of condition, you're gonna have to do things you didn't think you're gonna have to do. And that means, an hour and a half plus of cardio, pushing, different drugs harder than you've ever thought you would have to or whatever. Um, and just most importantly, working fucking harder than you ever had to and keeping your head on straight, because that's really where like it weeds out the weak, the strong from the weak.
When you get that conditioned, like how you were and stuff, and like every time I competed, I would consider I was in good condition too. Like
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
you just do what you have to fucking do and you don't complain, but you're right, man. Like it's all up here. Like at that point, it's all mental. It's how uncomfortable you can be and hold that for as long as you possibly can.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like Logan Franklin, he probably felt like he was dying for literally a month straight.
yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Because like you were going hypo, bro, from the cardio and like low food and stuff. But look at what the outcome was. There's it's not an accident that these like when you see somebody peeled like you were when you got your pro card, Logan Franklin, like Phil Heath even said, dude, like Hani would have him an hour and a half at 6 weeks out, bro, on the stairs, 45 in the morning, 45 at night. He'd have to go unlock the gym at 1 a.m. right before his final meal of the day and do 45 minutes and then go home and literally eat egg whites and fucking asparagus. Like, and that's literally a 7-time fucking Mr. Olympia. There's no exceptions to the rule, right? What I'm saying, like, there's no accident of, hey, like these people got in shape and somebody was literally just eating fucking I don't know, fucking hamburgers and muffins every day. Like that's not the case. Like it's not an accident that every story when you see somebody peeled is almost identical. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they push really hard, right?
You
And look, I'm
know?
sure there are guys like I can imagine somebody like Brett Wilkin probably doesn't really need to push that hard, stuff
No,
like
yeah,
that.
right,
There are, of
right.
course, going to be like your anomalies.
Yeah.
I'm just talking for the most
Martin
part
Martin eats a lot of food too from
here.
Fitzwater, right? But again, like you said, anomalies, but there's still going to be a level of discomfort, in my opinion, for somebody to get to 3-4% body fat and hold that for a few weeks,
Oh,
like,
dude, you're like borderline dying at
yeah,
that point.
that's what I mean.
Like
Like, and like,
anything less and you're going into organ failure, not even just real fat.
yeah,
You know?
right. So, like, somebody like Martin, for example, dude, right? Like, sure, he's probably able to get that peeled on 400 carbs a day, 300 carbs a day, but that might still be a discomfort level for him because his body, from his genetic standpoint, needs 700-800 carbs for
Oh,
the amount of
bro.
muscle he has.
Bro, so like for those that haven't been that conditioned, when you have a refeed day and it consists of like 1,000 carbs plus and like 120 grams of fat plus, like your body just burns through it so fucking fast.
It's unreal, dude.
It's like unbelievable. So you do not feel good after that. Like
No, you feel like shit.
you might feel good for like a little bit, like a half a day, like your training session the next day, and then you feel just as dog shit again because you
If
have no
not
body fat.
worse. If
Yeah.
not fucking worse, because what a lot of people don't get is like, sure, like closer to the show as a coach, like those days might be to give us a certain look, like and what we need and what we're desiring for the look to be. But like at 8 weeks out, you're being refed. It's literally just to make you feel like fucking more shit to get leaner, to spike your metabolism again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So
but I'm sure it's a good point to talk about because I'm sure some people listening are like, oh, these fucking guys know what you're talking about. They're saying they're gonna put their guys on no carb. Like,
no, we don't. Yeah.
when you do that, if you get to a level of doing that and push for that next DEFCON 1 level condition, you're being refed 2 to 3 times a week with like a
Yep.
ridiculous amount of food. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like if you're not doing that, then
Yeah, you're gonna
that's an issue.
crash. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
gonna
that's
crash.
an issue. That's when it's a problem. And there are people that still do that.
100%, bro. Yeah, no, we're when we're doing that, if we're having somebody at 0, 50, 100 carbs, like they're definitely getting refed more 99% of the time, twice a week. But but the thing is, by the time we get to push them like that, their metabolism's already going. So like 5 days out of the week, they're being pushed hard, and that's what's benefiting us getting them further. And then the refeed comes, it takes a lot of stress off them, right? We're even more than likely pulling their cardio very much so down or omitting it when they're like that from those high days. So we let all the stress kind of go, feed them up, and then they just get drug into the ground again, for the next 5 days. So, but yeah, so that was a good topic. Awesome. You got anything else?
So
No. Appreciate everybody listening, and I'll upload this to YouTube for tomorrow for anybody